Joining me now to discuss some of our first impressions from the post-trade deadline around the whole NBA is my friend Daman Rangoola. Daman, what's up, man?
How you doing, man? Crazy times.
Crazy times. The craziest moment of tonight for me was second quarter. Lakers are up 18 points early in the second quarter at 7:44 on the box score, and it says Luka Doncic enters the game for LeBron James. That's the moment it hit me, because like Luka goes in for LeBron in the first play. He drives the basket, draws 3 defenders in the paint. 5 guys are looking at him, and then he floats a kick out to Rui Hachimura for a wide open 3-pointer in the corner. And it just, in that moment, it hit me. I'm just like, they're always going to have LeBron or Luka on the floor at all times, all 48 minutes. How is this real?
Man, I am not kidding you. The amount of, can you believe this is real messages that have been exchanged just between like messages and group chats and stuff like that. It's very rare when you all have like the same reaction to the same news. And across the Laker landscape, it's been just, can you believe this is real life? And also, as a collective, there's like a humbling about it where we're not even like puffing our chest out. Like, this is not a typical Laker acquisition where it's like a free agent finds his way to, the Lakers like LeBron did. Or we draft Kobe Bryant. Or, we draft Magic Johnson. Or somebody demands a trade like Anthony Davis or back in the day, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. To be handed this out of nowhere in the middle of the night, and then to watch that exact sequence you're talking about is the exact time where I was like, this is absurd. It is the exact same moment I felt like I still cannot believe this is real life. I really cannot.
Didn't Rob Pelinka use the word gift during the introduction press conference? He says it's a gift.
Well, in fairness, he also said that about KCP. Saying that he was manna from heaven. So, it's not the most reliable narrator, but yeah, man, this is absurd. I mean, I just, beyond everything, I just had a blast soaking it all in today. Like, Utah was a perfect opponent where the game really was never in question, nor did the specifics really matter. Like, it's going to take a while for us to really see Luka and LeBron in situational basketball moments. And right now it's just get them out there. Luka was on a minutes restriction tonight. So I noticed that we reference Luka coming in for LeBron. I think JJ is still paired most of their minutes together, especially early in the game, because I think these are really valuable reps for them to play together as much as possible, just to kind of get into the groove of it. But yeah, long term, between Austin Reeves, LeBron, and Luka in a playoff round, in a playoff game, not only one, you're probably gonna have 2 of those 3 on the court almost at all times. And I can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you nailed it. This game tonight, blowout win over the Jazz. They're a tanking team. It's, the results aren't super relevant here. There'll be tougher tests to come. But LeBron, great again tonight, 24 points in his 29 minutes on 10 of 17. Luka, only 5 for 14 from the field, but it's the first time he's played in quite a long time. Only 1 of 7 from 3, but even still, in his limited minutes, I mentioned the kick-out pass to Rui Hachimura, some of the drives to the rim that he had.
Dude, the touchdown pass to LeBron.
Yes. Already you can see a little bit of that connection. He had the one that was deflected in the second half as well. But he's looking for LeBron on those runouts. And they had a play, I think it was, middle third quarter or something like that. They passed the ball back and forth a few times. Luka missed the 3 after he got it back from LeBron. But I think you can see the hints of chemistry already. And that goes back to the pregame quote with LeBron in the huddle. He calling back to his old tweet about Kevin Love. Don't fit out, fit in. He says the opposite to Luka. Don't fit in, fit out. Be you.
And I will credit LeBron. I think my number one worry is a weird word to say, so I'm not going to say that. My number one, I'd say if you power rank my things to be worried about, is I worry that Luka will be a little too differential, and 2, I don't want to step on any toes. We need that MFer, the playoff MFer, to show himself, and for him to feel comfortable to do that and say, hey, we're dragging right now. We need to win this game. get on my back. And I totally understand, like, if he'll be reticent to do that. Obviously because, it's LeBron freaking James who can also do that. But I think that LeBron pushing that right now is truly like just perfect leadership, the perfect tone to strike right now. Luka was announced last today. Like, I've been impressed so far how LeBron has handled the whole situation. It's a very delicate balance because, yes, we can joke about the fact that, I'm sure he's happy that, they brought in Luka, but Anthony Davis was genuinely his best friend on the team. They won a championship together, and he's had to navigate this sort of tricky balance of being very respectful of Anthony Davis and also bringing Luka on board. And actually, to maximize this partnership, he needs to embolden and empower Luka. And so far, early returns have been good. It's very early, but let's see.
Yeah, wearing the number 77 warm-up jersey as well. All these little things definitely add up. I think for LeBron, you're right. It is great leadership so far. It's setting the right tone. It's the way it should be.
Yep.
AD, there are moments and stretches that he was better than LeBron, but this is really the first time in LeBron's entire career that he's going to be the second best player most nights behind Luka. And even then, LeBron is still one of the 5 to 10 best players in the world at age 40.
When you see him, like, during that Knicks game, he started believing in this team, like that this team could actually do something, even though, I mean, who knows how much he knew and all that. But there was this belief not only amongst LeBron, but when LeBron has that energy, the whole team has a different energy. You saw Rui started picking it up. Austin Reeves has been pretty consistent, but he's stepped up even more. And Gabe Vincent has stepped up. And like you're seeing signs of true belief even before Luka was acquired. And yeah, now it's just going to the next level.
I mean, right now, the Lakers, in the standings, they're only a couple games back from Memphis for the 2 seed, 2.5 games back from them. So they're still in this, like, for a chance to get home court, to have a great seeding in the postseason. And obviously, as tight as things are in the West, a couple losses, suddenly they're down to the 7th seed. They're only up 3.5 on Minnesota for the 7th spot right now. But ultimately, that Mark Williams trade being rescinded here due to the Lakers' physical, it does mean that a lot's going on. Jackson Hayes.
Yep.
Reports where it came out on Monday afternoon that Alex Len is not going to be signing with the Pacers. I've been told it's, everything but signing on the dotted line that he's going to be going to the Lakers. So in all likelihood, the Lakers will be going with Jackson Hayes, Alex Len, who wasn't even getting minutes for the Kings and is just a very... he's okay. Very average center.
It's not very inspiring. I will say Jackson Hayes, in terms of his energy and his, he's been running the floor really hard.
Sets a tone, man. He does.
Really, he's been a perfect lob threat, and Luka's going to have a lot of fun throwing lobs to him. It is a problem. It is, obviously, when you look at the roster, it is the number one problem. It's why they were so aggressive in trading for Mark Williams in the first place. The first press conference when Rob Pelinka introduced Luka, he very clearly stated that is what they want to improve. And yeah, it's just a strange situation. It's very clear that this roster won't be complete until the offseason. But hey, you got Jackson Hayes, like you said, Alex Len. There's going to be some Vando. There's going to be some LeBron at the 5. Like, it's going to be it's going to be everybody kind of pitching in and trying to makeshift a competent-ish rotation at that 5.
You mentioned LeBron at the 5. We did see for a short spurt DFS, LeBron, Luka, Rui, Reeves. That's the small 5-man lineup I think we're going to see a lot. Maybe sometimes Vando in there. Sometimes it might be somebody instead of Reeves. Whatever the configuration. But those 5, that's still a big 5. Like, they're long, lengthy, versatile. They just don't have the 5 out there. But I do think that small ball lineup, maybe they could end up using that to their advantage with full-on 5-out spacing. LeBron's become an elite shooter. Rui's over 40% this year. Luka can get hot at any time. Reeves is very good. DFS is a good spot-up guy. That lineup has versatility on defense, a ton of attack points with a bunch of guys who can handle the ball. Even Rui can attack a closeout and hit a pull-up. I think that small lineup could have been useful for them even if they had Mark Williams.
That's right.
So
no,
I look forward to seeing that.
Yeah, they were experimenting with LeBron at the 5 minutes. Like, I mean, they did that in New York when they won. They had moments of that. And it's really funny, like just how quickly things turn around. When they acquired DFS, who knew that DFS having great chemistry with Luka Doncic was certainly going to become relevant at some point this season? But they have great chemistry. We may even get some Markieff Morris appearances. I mean, yeah, it's listen, it's hard to be very, very confident about this, but at the same time, I think that small ball 5 lineup, even though like Luka as the point guard is not exactly small. I think that'll probably be their most interesting look and probably their crunch time lineup.
Shams Charania posted on X in the middle of the game that the Hornets have been in contact with the NBA as they explore options to dispute the Lakers' failed physical assessment of Mark Williams. I've not spoken to anybody in the league office about this. I haven't spoken to anybody about it since it posted because I've been recording my pod, been watching games tonight. Those will be conversations for Tuesday and the rest of the week, and I'm sure Shams and others will report more as well. But I do wonder if the story's not dead yet. I wonder, like, could there be another chapter here?
I mean, it's already been like one of the craziest stretches of like few weeks in NBA history. Let's just make it crazier.
No,
at this point, it's really funny. Like where Charlotte had their press release initially saying, "Hey, we didn't even want to trade him. The Lakers came at us so aggressively," and like 24 hours later, we got this saying, "No, they have to take him."
Well, even the Nurkic side with that situation, they
right?
Put Nurkic on the injury report as trade pending. I checked in with a bunch of sources about that with both teams, other people around the league, and they all said the trade's done. It's over. Well, I don't know. I don't get why Charlotte's listing him as trade pending. And so, Gambo, a Suns radio guy, had to clarify trade's done. Trade's done.
That's really funny.
And it is done. Nurkic is with the Charlotte Hornets. That deal is done. But all of this has been so weird for the Hornets. And now you have this.
This is one of those things where I was really excited when they first traded for him. Now that I'm totally spooked by the physicals. It was a very aggressive move. I justified it by saying if you combine what the Lakers sent for Luka and then you combine it with that, I'm okay with the whole entire package.
Yeah, still
but
not
at this point,
Luka.
At this point, I'm just like, nope, we're good. Jackson Hayes is our guy. Dalton Connect is our guy. We're set.
I mean, who knows? Maybe it'll work out for the best for both sides. But Mark Williams, undeniably. I mean, I know I was super in support of the acquisition. I said it's a home run acquisition. The Lakers go from A+ to A+++++, getting Mark Williams. But
hey, man, that hater Tom Haberstroh was not for it. So I don't know.
No,
I don't know who's gonna be right about that.
Tom might have been spot on because
I know,
it is true.
Tom might be right.
It is true that Mark Williams has not looked the same defensively this year as he has in past years. But how much of that is because the Hornets are trash?
I know.
We saw this play out with PJ Washington. It was the same thing then. People said, "Oh, he's so inconsistent. You can't rely on him." Well, he goes to Dallas, and they're in a championship contending situation.
If you've seen it, for me, if you've seen it once and you're like, "Okay, this guy has it," the motivation will go up and down in a situation like Charlotte is in this year. I totally see that. So, but we have seen flashes of it, and so I totally understand the gamble that they were making. But
injuries are different. If there's injury concerns, like. Yeah,
a big man with that issue.
Out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm out.
Yeah, me too.
Well, we mentioned PJ Washington. Let's talk about Dallas tonight.
Oh, boy.
Strange night in Dallas.
Yeah.
Multiple fans got ejected, including one that mouthed, "Fire Nico," on the Jumbotron. Jason Kidd didn't talk post-game. That's weird. That doesn't happen. Coaches don't not talk on post-game. They always talk. Always talk. And so that's a strange thing that I'm sure we'll hear more about in the morning. Derek Lively's been out. Daniel Gafford, their starting center, sprained his knee in the first half. The Mavs owner got booed sitting at his courtside seat, got booed again walking off, and the Mavs lost in overtime to a game winner by DeMar DeRozan. After Anthony Davis has an unbelievable MVP caliber
so
80
electric.
first half over the weekend, 24
So
points,
electric.
13 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 blocks, screaming at the crowd, I'm here, I'm here. But then it was really the full 80 experience because he was invisible in the third quarter, as we've seen many, many times. One dominant half, then invisible, and then he misses the remainder of the game due to an injury that we now know could keep him out for multiple weeks or even longer. Mark Stein on his Substack said indefinitely. It's been reported elsewhere at least multiple weeks with a core injury. This is really, really scary times for the Mavericks, Daman.
Man, I this is the strangest situation for me to be in because and I mentioned this to you earlier in this podcast where Lakers fans legitimately, I mean, this is not like a public thing. This is even privately. There's universal sympathy for Mavericks fans because I think, and I seriously don't mean this in an arrogant way. I think Laker fans, we more than most fan bases across sports understand the value of a franchise centerpiece like Luka Doncic. So we understand the gravity of this kind of a transaction happening overnight, unprompted, not like a trade demand situation or something like that. And this was like a bond, a social contract between an organization, franchise, Dallas Mavericks, the city, and the fans. And I love Anthony Davis. I love Max Christie. I seriously, that first half, I was legitimately thrilled at how electric it looked. And that specific construct of a team that's bully ball, just very physical at the rim attack,
so fun, man.
is my favorite kind of roster. It reminds me of the 2020 Laker team that won the title. And I was genuinely excited.
The big lob, all that. It's just so freaking fun.
Right. Big, fast, aggressive. And that's what they were playing like. And I legitimately was thrilled. I was so happy. I'm like, listen, this I hope that they can really make a real run this season, and for it to come crumbling down so fast, it legitimately breaks my heart for them. I also think hey man, this is why we've read all the justifications at this point. Ownership has done a poor job of explaining it. The general manager has done a poor job of explaining it. I do buy it at face value. I don't believe in any of the conspiracies. They legitimately thought this maximizes their chances right now. and I mean, I really think that they believe that. And it's just such a blow for this to happen in the first game and losing Gafford now. And it's just it's crumbling apart. And in a situation like this disintegrates the whole thing. If this falls apart, I don't know how you can put this together.
It's a joke of a franchise, man.
Yeah,
it's a joke.
Sucks.
You're
it legitimately sucks. I don't want to see it. I'm obviously the benefactor, right? But I still don't want to see it like this.
I know. It's just all of it.
I will celebrate. Listen, I will sell. I enjoyed today, but I'm not going to sell. I'm not going to gloat to the fans. I want to hug those fans and say,
sure.
Listen, I'm with you.
I mean, you can feel both ways. You can feel happy for your own franchise, but also sad for the other, especially considering, I mean, they're throwing fans out. They're ejecting fans. The coach isn't talking after the game. You get fans
maybe
protesting.
Not the best sign. Maybe not the best sign.
I don't feel good about it at all. For a moment, I mean, look, I said to you in a text over last week or something like that. It's I hope this turns into a good story. I hope they can embrace it and it becomes I don't mean get over it.
They did. The crowd inside sounded awesome.
Yes, and I hope it can become something where it's in the movie Fargo, the poster with all the fish. It's maybe you're right and they're wrong. It's I would love if Nico can be that. I think it would be such a cool story, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be a great story?
Yep.
And for a moment in that first half over the weekend, I'm wow, this is the vision.
Yep.
But obviously, even then, in those moments, you're well, can Kyrie carry them all the way? No. There's no way. And then he goes down and the dream just gets immediately deflated. And it's only gotten worse since then. I mean, like I said, Daman, J Kidd not talking tonight is weird. That is strange. Would it shock you at all if we get a Shams bomb saying Jason Kidd has quit. Like, that wouldn't surprise me.
Nothing at this point would surprise me. I am a little worried because there was supposed to be an Anthony Davis update, and I'm worried if that's worse than expected, and maybe Jason Kidd was advised not to say anything today. I'm worried about that. And I am worried about just if Jason Kidd doesn't feel comfortable and the teams doesn't feel comfortable communicating with the fans right now. And that's just, there should be no franchise in a situation like this. And it's just, I feel horrible.
Well, I mean, right now, the Mavericks are 4.5 games separated from the 9th best lottery odds.
Oh, boy.
And I don't even want to go there, but I have to go there because you have 80 out multiple weeks with an adductor strain, and who knows, it could be way longer. Lively is out until April-ish with a right ankle stress fracture, and now Daniel Gafford out for maybe days, maybe weeks with a knee sprain. He only played 10 minutes and didn't look good when he was walking off the floor. And behind the Mavs in the standings, you have the Kings, who are trying to win every freaking game right now. The Warriors, who are starting to look better with Jimmy Butler. They're trying to win every game. The Suns, they're trying to win every game. And the Spurs, all 4 of those teams are fighting like hell to make the playoffs, whereas the Mavericks, even Dwight Powell is out. They don't have a 5. They don't have spirit. They don't have the fans behind them. I just wonder if maybe this is where this is going to go, where the Mavericks just free fall down and end up in the lottery.
Kevin, the biggest lie you've ever told is that you're upset about this. There's nothing you enjoy more than talking about teams tanking and blowing it up. So let's just set the record straight. You would like nothing more for them to lose the rest of the way, right?
For Cooper.
End up with Cooper. This is what you like doing. This is who you are. This is who you are.
And this time an American-born white guy, too.
This is what you want. This is what you really want. This is what you've been here for. Yeah, I mean, listen,
the plan the whole time by Nico.
it's the problem is it's beyond difficult to sell a win now move and a day later pivot to we're going to try to get into the lottery. I just think if they announce right now that Anthony Davis will miss 3 weeks, let's say, I think that they're going to try and get just try to stay afloat, stay at that 10-9 seed and make a go at it, because I don't see how they can justify it. Now, if they do have to pivot,
he needs surgery? If he needs surgery, that changes everything.
Right, it changes everything. But then now you're like, if we waste another year, is Kyrie going to come to us in the summer and say, all right, well, I mean, if this is where we are as a franchise, and I mean, I don't know, like it is, unfortunately, if they so what is their pick protection? Like, it's top 10 protected or what? Like, they just have it?
They just have their pick, yes.
Okay, so, I mean, I guess, unfortunately, you are right. Like, at some point, you have to look at the odds. I mean, listen, Nico Harrison did make this decision once already when it was unpopular, right? There was a lot of think pieces. I was one of them, honestly. I thought it was a horrible look that you have Luka and Kyrie and you're going to actually tank for keeping your pick, and it actually worked out for them. So maybe that is the right outcome. And maybe at this point you're like, hey, the fans hate us enough already. They can't hate us anymore. So let's just do it then. I guess that would be the way to justify it.
Let's talk about 2 of the teams behind the Mavericks in the standings right now. The Spurs, we saw Fox and Wemby play their 4th game together in a game that was probably a bit too close against the Wizards, but the game being close, I thought, did provide some opportunity to see some of the chemistry developing. They haven't practiced together yet, De'Aaron Fox and Victor Wembanyama, but in the final 5 minutes, we saw a pick and roll where Fox drove downhill, hit Wemby for a lob. I think Wemby, I want to see more rolls, less pops, as good as he is from 3. Getting those at-rim chances with Fox, I think, is going to increase his efficiency even more. And then there was a play, Wemby got the ball in the high post. Fox was in the corner, cut back door. Victor passed to him, and that's another situation. Wemby, the playmaker. But overall, through 4 games, the Spurs have a minus 5.9 net rating in the 4 games with Fox and Wemby on the floor together. I'm not reading into that too much. We've only seen Fox, Wemby, and Castle on the floor for only 28 minutes together through those 4 games. Not enough. The lineups are out of whack. Why is Chris Paul still starting? I don't understand why he's still starting in these games. Put Castle in there. Castle plays 20 minutes against the Wizards tonight. Makes no sense to me at all, as great as he's been. Ultimately, though, I mean, some ups, some downs. Overall, though, I'm pretty impressed by what we saw in the closing 4 to 5 minutes of the game tonight against the Wizards.
Yeah, and I think you highlighted the right thing, where I think that I trust Fox and Wemby to figure it out. I really do. I thought that, listen, I had a lot of criticisms for the way Sacramento is run. I also had a lot of criticisms for Sabonis itself, like as a centerpiece of a team to win. But the chemistry that Fox and Sabonis developed in a pretty short order, and it was very, like, their offense was extremely high level, really complex, just different reads, different types of pick and roll plays and all that stuff. Like, I trust that Fox and Wemby will get that together. It is everything around them that I think that they as an organization really need to figure it out. I think your Chris Paul point is a great one. Are the San Antonio Spurs in it still as a cute story, the developmental kind of slow pace? Hey, Chris Paul is sort of the captain on the floor. Out of respect, we're going to defer to him and do this. Or are you going to say, no, we have to make the playoffs. The best call for this team is Chris Paul to be a 1-shift player, not a 2, 3, 4-shift player. And are they as an organization ready to take the next step? And unfortunately, we haven't heard much about it. I would be curious to know what condition Popovich is in. We really want to see him back, obviously. But maybe not on the sidelines yet, but maybe this is where he can start getting his presence, and the front office can sort of saying, hey, let's accelerate a little bit. We got our guy now. The pace of the franchise needs to accelerate a little bit. And it's not a nice to have position to be in the playoffs this year. No, we must make the playoffs this year and have that as your North Star. Get Wemby these reps, get Wemby these big game reps with Fox, and really know where you stand as a franchise. I love the trade they made. They didn't go all in, but they also took a step. And I think for a team in this situation, it was the best outcome that they could have hoped for. And if you really get into the playoffs now, it also helps you make the right assessment for what your team needs moving forward and where the gaps are. And hey, is Stephon Castle going to be able to step up? Or is Jeremy Sohan going to be able to step up? Will he be able to play in the playoffs? Will he get exposed in the playoffs, et cetera, et cetera? And you start putting these data points together so you can make more informed decisions. And that's what I really want to see, because that'll ultimately put Wemby in the best spot. And we all want to see Wemby just get to the top and see how that looks.
I think you're spot on. It's critical for them to get in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so disappointing to me to still see Chris Paul in that starting lineup.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised. Yeah.
It makes no sense. And some of these whack rotations that they're rolling with right now, like I said, Castle playing 20 minutes is
can't do it. Yeah.
So goofy.
Yeah, can't do it.
It is so silly to me. And Chris Paul, if he's unwilling to come off the bench, I'd just get rid of him. Honestly, that might be harsh. But dude, like you got to come off the bench at this point. You have De'Aaron Fox on the team, who is a very high level point guard. Chris Paul slows things down. You want to play faster with Victor and Fox. Why are they starting together? You have a 6-foot spot up shooter? No. He should be a backup that's helping run the point with the bench guys and staggering with Fox, playing lesser minutes and making an impact. But if he doesn't want to accept that, I just move on now, personally. I mean, I don't know. Even when the Spurs were looking pretty solid earlier in the year, I was like, I don't know. I don't.
You were right about the pace all season.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah,
it's too slow, man. It just felt too slow.
You also
said,
you also set an organizational expectation for Wemby and everybody else. Like, hey, we've set our goal to the playoffs. We think we need to play fast. Chris, sorry, it's not going to work out. If you're not willing to come off the bench, letting you go is a sign that, hey, it's an organizational sign that we mean business and we are only about winning. And we expect Chris Paul to be a professional, come off the bench, do whatever he needs to do. And if that's not good for him, you send a message to everybody, that full locker room. You send a message to Wemby like, hey, we're not messing around.
Yeah, I mean, I completely understand the veteran aspect of it, but I'd much rather see Sohan get more than 21 minutes and Castle get more than 20 minutes.
Got to see it. Got to see it.
Got to see it from those. Those are your core pieces, because you need to invest in the future while also trying to make the postseason now and Paul playing 30 plus minutes works against both. Let's talk about the Warriors. Jimmy Butler played his second game for Golden State. He had 20 points on Monday night on 12 of 15 from the free throw line after having 25 points on 11 of 13 from the line. In game one, we've seen Butler cutting to the rim. We've seen him at the high post and the low post. They're plugging him into different places. Of course, they only faced a Bucks team without Giannis. They have not faced great opponents. They faced the Bulls in his debut. Tougher test Thursday against the Rockets. That'll be the real tough one before the break. They face the Mavericks on Wednesday as well. But overall, looks good. Looks good, Daman.
I was so confused by some of the trepidation behind people thinking that, hey, I don't know if Jimmy will fit on the Warriors and this and that. Look, man, those guys, like, they're winners, just straight up. They're winners. And I know Jimmy has created some ruckus in a couple of situations, but at the end of the day,
all of the situations.
All that is true. And, you know, the thing is, the Warriors are in a situation where I think worrying about anything beyond literally this season is just a fool's errand. You have Steph Curry, you have Draymond. This literally, like, this season could be their last run. Actually could be. Like, it could just fall apart after this season. Steph Curry's a small guard. Draymond is, you know, he's had health issues recently. And so it's just like, just do it. I was fully in favor of the move. And I think Jimmy has shown early on what he can provide. Dude, Steph was doing so much. Like, if he was not carrying everything on offense, this team has been in bad shape. This is not just a this season thing. This has been a consistent issue for them. And you can see, like, it's funny how there's so many similarities at this point between Steph and LeBron. Steph looks like a new man since they brought in Jimmy. Just
totally
because
rejuvenated.
He's like, totally rejuvenated because he's like, oh my goodness, I don't have to do it all anymore. Like, Jimmy can get to the freaking line. Just do something, right? And so Steph is rejuvenated. Steph is bought in. It elevates the whole team. And look, I think that the Jimmy contract, that the extension they signed, probably not going to age well. I think that this experiment itself, we might look at it, maybe not this season or next season, but after that and be like, this is looking ugly. Like, this is really nasty. And I say, so what? You did right by Steph. This is you're at the stage in your franchise, in this franchise's run, where it's like, this is our one shot. It is what it is. We can't be doing this light years thinking of what's our team going to look like in 4 years and what are our draft pick situation and that. Screw it all, man. You do right by stuff right now and you figure the rest out later. And it looks okay to me so far.
Yeah, I mean, it looks great so far. And Steph, as you said, looks rejuvenated. 38 points against the Bucks, 34 points against the Bulls. And that comes
and
after...
happy. He looks happy.
And happy, exactly. Yep. And so for Steph, I think if you're like splitting his season up, if you're looking at everything leading up to the Butler trade and the 2 games since, everything leading up, Steph's been like the 20th best guy in the league, roughly. Like, he has not been himself, lower volume, lower efficiency, getting attacked on defense. He has not looked like his full self at all. Had a couple, issues with injuries as well, playing into that as well.
By the way, I'll say body language too wasn't perfect. Like, it wasn't great.
And then the 2 games since then, he looks like top 10 Steph. Still, top 5 Steph. Just that same old guy. So I think
just
for the
a little
Warriors,
bit of belief is all you need sometimes.
Yes, exactly. And so I think for the Warriors moving forward in the season, Butler undeniably adds a new dimension. Now, I'm not sure how sustainable it will be, him getting to the free throw line 10 plus times per game, but it is definitely, I think it was maybe Butler after that first game talking about, like, this is the formula. Me in the interior, Steph on the perimeter. It's very basic, but kind of true. Like, Jimmy Butler takes half of his shots in the restricted area this season, 50% of his shots in the restricted area. And it's over 40% in his career. Like, he lives in the restricted area, lives in the paint. And so the Warriors don't have a guy like that. The Warriors are near the bottom of the league in getting to the basket. Jimmy Butler adds a completely new dimension there, even if he's not able to run pick and roll like he prefers to. He's doing it from cuts. He's doing it from post-ups. And it's looking good. So I look forward to seeing them, especially that Thursday game against Houston. Houston's defense is tremendous. That's going to be a really good one to watch right before All-Star weekend.
No, man. Listen, the Rockets are the kind of tough young test that I do want to see how the Warriors respond to. The Warriors are, even with Jimmy, right? They're still a pretty old team, and the Rockets are, man, they're going to run up and down, and they're going to be tough and physical. And this is where you see actually how much of the added dimension that Jimmy brings, how much it'll help their situation, or will it show that, hey, there's still some issues here?
Well, thank you for joining me today, Daman. I appreciate it, man. Coming up next, we have John Krasinski talking Minnesota Timberwolves.